How's everybody doing? Look, give me a second here, and let me get on the Facebook here so I can see my live. All right, we're about to get started here in just a second. I am getting everything for my live now. The last broadcast I tried to do live, it got kind of cut short because my battery ran dead. We're about to get started here in just a second. Okay. I am. Let me cut this volume out. But my battery ran dead, so I really couldn't do my live the way I wanted to. But now I've gotten my battery power back up. I want to make sure we got enough people. I want to make sure we got enough people that we're able to get done what we need to get done. I want to make sure everybody can, is going to be here, because I want y'all to hear what I got to say. Because my last broadcast got cut short. I don't know if that was by design or if someone was trying to keep y'all from hearing something. But look, what I'm about to share with you all, wealthy people don't want you to know. People who have money, people who are wealthy, they don't want you to know this stuff. But I'm going to share it with you because I'm here today to tell you that the only difference between wealthy people and everybody else is knowledge. Because wealth truly is a choice. It's not a privilege. It's not a right. Okay, it's a choice. You can choose to be wealthy. Now, if you're asking me how do I know this, because a lot of y'all who know me know that 10 years ago I was homeless. Y'all saw me walking around on the streets with my little laptop, staying at the homeless shelter, walking to work every day over the Trojan labor, bike breaking work, digging ditches, and all that type of stuff. That was me 10 years ago. But today I'm a self-made millionaire. Now the question is, how did I make that happen? That's the real question. And I'm gonna tell you, two things that put me on the path to becoming truly wealthy. One was knowledge. I had to relearn what I thought about money and how money is made, primarily how wealth is created and how wealth is generated. More importantly, how generational wealth is created and how it's passed on. The second thing that happened to me was I started following a YouTube channel, a gentleman by the name of Brian N. Bean. Okay, now Mr. Bean is a young African American gentleman who made his first $1 million when he was in his 20s, and then he lost it. And then he got a real education. And he started a YouTube channel because he's a wealth management strategist. And I started following him. I started, and I was still homeless when I started watching his videos, and I started taking his advice. He would give advice on how to restructure your W-4 form. For those of you who don't know what a W-4 is, that's that thing you filled out when you first got your job. A lot of y'all don't even remember what it was, but you need to restructure that so you can put more money back in your check. As a matter of fact, there's something on the link right here on this video that says take the instant pay raise challenge. Go in there. It's free. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. Click on it. Take the instant pay raise challenge. You go in there and you put in, all your stuff. How many miles you drive per day. How much money you spend on food. Your utility bill, your mortgage, your rent, whatever you got, you're paying for. You put all that in, and then it will. Then when you hit calculate, it's gonna tell you after doing your W-4 form. It's gonna tell you how much money your next paycheck, how much money it's gonna give back to you each and every month, how much money is going to increase your current paycheck every month. Now, when Mr. Bean was talking about redoing the W-4s and stuff, I just followed his advice. I was working at the labor hall, Trojan labor, walking to work, digging ditches, making minimum wage. I think my my take home was like 200, sometimes 190, sometimes $170 a day. At the most, it was like 225. That's if I worked, 10 hours a day with some overtime or whatever the case it was, because I was really working minimum wage back then. Minimum wage like $7 an hour, right? But listening to Mr. Bean, and I did my W-4 form, and I turned it in, and that very next week, my check was $350, $360 increase of almost $150 per week. That's like almost $700 more per month. I've got these calls coming in. Let me shut this off. That's like $600-700 per month of an increase in my weekly, check. So $150 a week, $600-700 a month. That's a lot of money. All right. Then I kept following his advice on restoring my credit and all that type of stuff. Well, let me fast forward. Mr. Bean now is like, well, I won't tell you about that. I'll tell you about that later. But let's get into why the wealthy don't want you to hear what I'm about to tell you. And those of you who never thought that you could become a millionaire, you never thought that you could become wealthy, you are wrong. You can't. Everybody can become wealthy. It's just a matter of you knowing what I'm about to tell you and then taking the action on it. Because I did it from a homeless shelter and became a self-made millionaire. And I know you can do it too. Okay? So get ready for this education. You might want to take some notes. Hit your record button or something, because you all are gonna want to hear this. And when you hear this, you're gonna say to yourself, my God, I never knew this stuff. Okay? Because they kept it from you. Now, as I said before, the only difference between the wealthy and you is knowledge. That's it. Because wealth is a choice. It's not a privilege or a right. How many of you all remember back when companies used to pay a pension? Okay? Now, this is going to be an education, so y'all bear with me. I promise you, you don't want to go watch something else. You can watch the girls shaking their butts and all that other stuff later. This right here, what I'm about to tell you, what I'm about to share with y'all, this is going to help you to become a millionaire within 5 to 6 years. I guarantee it. So you need to tune in and just stay tuned in to this. But back in the day, if you're old enough to remember, companies used to pay their employees a pension when they worked for them for 20, 30 years and then they retired. The company was responsible for paying your pension. I know because my uncle worked for the city of Detroit, Michigan. Worked for them for like 27, almost 33 years or something like that. From the 60s until the 80s. And he retired in early 1981, 82. I think I was still in high school or something like that. And his pension was $5,200 per month. That's a lot of money back then. That's almost like $9,000, $10,000 a month now. So in the 81, 82, that's a lot of money. But the company paid him $5,200 per month was his pension. And when he passed on, his wife got that pension, and his children got, they got, a portion of that pension. Okay, but that's the way it was back then. Now, something strange happened in 1965. In 1965 through 1980, between 1965 and 1980, about a 15-year span, 78 million people were born in the United States. That's why we're called the baby boomers. Okay, and there's a lot of baby making going on during that time. I don't know what was going on. I was born in 1965, so I was right at the beginning of the baby boom, right? So I'm now 55, so we're now reaching that age within 10 years that we're going to be retiring, okay, at 65. That's why they call us the baby boomers generation. Now, companies back then, these are benchmarks of the economic community. Here in the United States, Procter & Gamble, Ford, General Motors, Boeing, and all these big companies, the airlines, everybody. Okay, all these huge Coca-Cola, all these huge companies. If you work for them for 20, 30 years, they were paying pensions. But when the baby boom happened, these companies started realizing with all these people that were born, 7, 8 million people, and they're going to be hitting the workforce, when they come up time for to pay their pensions, we're gonna go broke. So we can't continue this cycle of paying these pensions for people who have stuck with us for 20 and 30 years to help us become wealthy, but we just can't afford to pay that, because if we doing that, we'll be paying like $40 billion, a year, in pensions, the average company. So they couldn't have that. So these rich companies, they reached out to their rich uncle, Uncle Sam. Hey, rich uncle, we need some help, because we got a lot of people that were born, in this 15-year span, and if we continue the way we're going and attempt to pay all these pensions, we're gonna go broke. So you need to help us out. So Uncle Sam said, okay, well, my nephews, I got something for you. I can help you out. We've got a tax code. We got a tax code called the 401k. That's right. 401k is a tax code. I bet a lot of y'all didn't know that. 401k is actually a tax code. It was never meant to be a retirement plan. Never. It was a tax code. They said this tax code will allow you all to relieve yourselves of the responsibility of paying your employees' pension, and it will put the responsibility on your employees to fund their own retirement. So, all them rich nephews, they say, well, you know what? That could work. But how are we going to convince them to give up the pension and start paying for their own retirement? He said, well, you got to offer them. So, Uncle Sam, the rich uncle, he said, well, you got to offer them some type of incentive. You got to incentivize it, okay? So what you need to do is you need to match whatever they're putting in dollar for dollar. So if they're putting in $1, you put in $1. They're putting in $100, you put in $100 a month. Now, by doing that, you're going to save yourselves a lot of money, because right now you're funding their entire pension plan. But if you do dollar for dollar match, right, they're not going to be able to put in as much money as you all were putting in before. So they may be putting in, $400 or $500 a month. You just matching that. So that means instead of you all paying $40 billion per year, you wind up paying maybe $40 million a year. That's a big difference to a corporation. 40 billion, 40 million, 40 billion, 40 million. Huge difference. Big savings. Okay, all these corporations, oh yeah, okay, we love that. Now let's go and sell it to our employees. So what they did this whole big campaign. 401ks. Don't depend on your employer to fund your pension. Fund your own retirement. Take control of your own retirement plan. All that type of stuff. It was just a snowball to get everybody to give up their pensions and take the 401ks. Now, here's the problem with the 401k. They say that they will tell you that with the 401k, your money is tied to the stock market and you kind of control it. So as the stock market goes up, your money goes up. But also if the stock market goes down, your money goes down too. That's the part that they put in fine print. They didn't really, promote that part. They just promoted the stock market going upside. They didn't tell you about the downside, that you can lose all your money from your 401k if the stock market crashes. And that's what happened about 16, 18 years ago. Stock market, boom, crashed and stayed down for months. And people lost everything they had in their 401ks. If you didn't lose everything you had, you lost 75% of it. That's why now you see all these older people at Walmart, 60, 70, 80, 90 years old at Walmart. Welcome to Walmart. Let me check that receipt. I mean, what are they gonna do? If you run out of Walmart or something, they can't stop you. You think these people are working because they want to? Because they were bored at home? No. These people are retired. They don't want to work. They work because they don't have a choice. They're out of money. Their 401ks, they're out of money. They have no money set aside for retirement. The average person right now at age 65 has less than $5,000 in their bank account. Think about it. Is that going to be you? It ain't me. I can tell you that for a fact. Not no more. Okay? But the question is that going to be you? Now, that's how they duped us into getting rid of the pensions and taking on the 401ks. Okay, 401ks are tied to the stock market. It goes up and it goes down. So you can make money with your 401k, but you can also lose everything in your 401k if the stock market goes down. And we all know that the market changes every single day. It goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. Okay, especially now with this coronavirus thing, a lot of people, they're out of work. Stock market is going down. Everything, this and that. It's just bad, and people are literally going crazy on how they're going to make it. Me and my family, we didn't worry about how we were going to make it. In fact, we bought this home in January, right when this whole corona thing started happening, and we ain't missed a beat since. Why? Because we're protected, and I'm going to tell you why. Because this is what the wealthy do. Now, y'all get ready, because I'm about to shock the world. I'm about to shock all of y'all. I really am. I promise you. You're going to say to me, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And you didn't know it for a reason. Now, we've been taught from the time that we can listen, from the time that we can talk. The best thing to do is to grow up, get a job, open up a bank account, put your money in a checking account, in a savings account, save your money, you'll be all right. Nothing could be farther from the truth. Okay? That's what they taught us. They taught us to do that. But when you put your money in a bank account, a checking or savings account, what happens? First of all, most of them want to charge you anywhere from $12 to $15 just to hold your money each month. Secondly, they tell you, well, you put it in the bank account, your money's going to grow interest. Well, 1.25% per year? At the most, 2.25% per year? So if you got $1,000 in the bank and it's just sitting there, at the end of the year, you made an extra $20 on it. That's helping you. Now, don't forget, they're charging you $15 a month to hold your money. So chances are, by the time you get to the end of the year, you're overdrawn because you're being charged $15 a month for them to hold your money. So you got to keep pumping money into your regular bank account just to make it keep up. Does that seem right to you? You think the rich doing that? You think wealthy people doing that? You think I'm doing that? No, sirree. We're not doing that. We don't do that. Okay, that's not what we do. Okay, that's not how we roll. Okay, and I'm about to educate you all on how you can roll that way too. Now, so you put your money in a bank. That's what you all have been taught. Put your money in a bank, regular bank account, savings account. If you're really good and you got a business, you open up a business account, right? Yeah, that's what they tell you. But it's the same thing. Your money's only growing by a bit every year. And if you're really good, you put your money in some type of investment earning account, an IRA, a Roth account, a money market account, a bank, a government annuity, bonds, a government bonds, U.S. savings bonds, something like that. But all that stuff is still tied to the stock market. It goes up and it goes down. You could make money, but you can also lose all your money. Now, the question is this. What if there was some type of account that you had zero risk of losing your money? Not only that, what if there was some type of account that when you put money in it, it just continually goes up, 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 and it never goes down? Y'all probably think, so with account, ain't no such account as that. Yes, there is. It's called a private reserve account. Now, if you never heard of a private reserve account, don't feel bad, because only 10% of the population, of the world's population, is wealthy. And only 1% is independently wealthy. Me and my wife, we're trying to get to the 1% now. We started on that 10%. Now we're trying to get to that 1%. Okay? So the other 90%, yeah, y'all didn't hear about this because they kept it from you. They kept it from you. They didn't let y'all, and they didn't teach you this in school, but in their schools they did. In their boarding schools, in their military academy schools, in their country clubs, in their brunch meetings, and at the golf clubs and all that type of stuff, at the yacht clubs and all that stuff. They taught this all the time. They even talked about it, in their churches, around their dinner tables. They've been teaching this stuff to their kids from the time they could hear and talk. But you ain't had these conversations in your household. You didn't have these conversations. Not at your churches, not at your schools. You didn't have these type of conversations. Okay, this stuff was kept from you for a reason. Now, as I mentioned before, the wealthy push their money in what's called a private reserve account. Now, you change to, what is a private reserve account? A private reserve account is an account, much like any other investment account, but it's tied to the market gains and not the market losses, which means whatever money you put in is going to reap the market gains, and the market does something every single day. It doesn't just do something once a year or once a month. It does something every day. Y'all hear it all the time. You hear it all the time. The S&P enjoyed this 20th straight day of market gains of 26.2%. The NASDAQ is enjoying its 30th straight day of market gains of 14 points and rising. The NASDAQ dropped, plummeted 27 points today. Investors are worried. Y'all hear that all the time, right? But what exactly does that mean? How does that relate to a private reserve bank account? Because the private reserve bank account is this. When you put your money in it, it is only tied to the market gains, as I said. So on day one, if you put it in and the market gains 10%, you got $1,000 in it, you just made an extra $100 on your $1,000. On day two, let's say it moves 5%, right? Now here's the kicker. Because you made $100 the day before, now you have $1,100, so your 5% increase is based on $1,100. So you didn't make $500, you made about $600. And so on and so on and so on. Now, what happens when the market starts to go down? Well, when the market starts to go down with the private reserve account, your money levels off. It freezes. It does what's called a market rate lock. So it's freezing, it's traveling along like this. And then when the market starts going back up, your money starts rising back up with it and making gains. So you are never losing money, you're always making money. See, this is something that the wealthy has been doing for decades and decades and decades. They just ride their money up. Their money never drops. They don't get no little bitty percentage at the end of the year like you all get. You know, we don't get that, but you all get, like at the end of the year, you put your money in the bank, you let it sit there, you're paying $15, $20 a month for them to hold your money, and then whatever you're putting in, they give you an extra 1.25% on your money at the end of the year. Yeah. No, hey, I was doing that too before I learned differently. Now I have the knowledge. And the knowledge took me from being homeless to a self-made millionaire. Now, let me tell you something else with that private reserve account, because that's not even the best part. That's not even the best part, not even close to the best part. Here are some of the best parts of a private reserve account. Let's say you don't put your money in. Let's say you took the instant pay raise challenge, and the instant pay raise challenge showed you how you can put an extra $200 a week back in your pocket, on your check. At the end of each week, your check went up $200 because you restructured your W-4. So your paycheck just went up $200. If you took that same $200 a week, right? 2, 4, 6, 8, about $900 because it's 4.33 weeks in a month. About 900 extra bucks per month. If you took that same 900 extra bucks per month, let's round off to an even 1,000, and you put that in your private reserve account, right? Now, get this. First of all, let me explain this to you. The reason why you all have never heard of a private reserve account, the reason why is, well, I'll get to that later. All right, I'll get to that later. But let's go back. All right, so you got that $1,000 in your private reserve account, right? You're putting that in every month now. A year, 2 years down the road, your private reserve account is $60,000, $70,000 because that's how the private reserve account rolls. It don't roll like your regular bank account and your business account and your savings account and your IRA account, getting them little bit of gains, once a year or every quarter or whatever it is. That private reserve account is gaining money every single day, baby, because the market is doing something every day, right? Every day, up and down, up and down, up and down. About 70% of the time, the market is going up. 30% of the time it's going down, but your money is on tied to the 70% of the time that's going up and not to the 30% of the time of when it's going down. So if you got 365 days in a year, you got 70% of the time your money is going up, that's about 260 days that your money is making money. And the other 100 and some odd days, you ain't losing no money because your money is not tied to the market losses, it's only tied to the market gains. All right? So with the private reserve account, you doing that, putting that money in every month, $1,000 a month, 2, 3 years from now, you got $60,000, $70,000, maybe $100,000, depending on how well the markets have done that year during those months. So you got $60,000, $70,000, maybe $100,000 in your private reserve account, because that's how it rolls. They don't roll like that little old bank account or savings account. It's called private for a reason. That private reserve account, it rolls like that. All right. So now you got $60,000, $70,000 in your private reserve account. Let's say you need $10,000 to buy your son or daughter a car. Or you need to add another, wing onto your house. My wife and I, we're turning my garage into my man cave and my studio. I figure it's gonna take me about $10,000 to do that. And we're gonna put another 3-car garage on the side over here and create a courtyard in the middle. I figure that's gonna cost us another $30,000, $40,000. Now, ordinarily, if you need that kind of money and you drew it out your bank account, if you got that kind of money like that, first of all, your bank account don't grow like mine do. Your bank account don't grow like the wealthy people do, because you don't have a private reserve account. You got a regular bank account. That private reserve account, it grow like that. It rolls like that. All right. So you now got in your private reserve account $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $100,000. You need to borrow out $10,000. You need to take out $10,000 to pay for your son's or daughter car or their education or tuition, or add onto your house, or you just want 10 grand in your pocket to walk around with. Now, if you had a regular bank account, you would draw that money out, which means your $60,000 now dropped to $50,000 balance. You don't do that with the private reserve account. No, sirree, because I told you, it don't roll like that. When you draw money out of your private reserve account, it's considered you borrowing money from yourself, because the private reserve account is treated just like it's your own bank. So when you borrow money from yourself, that's money that's still owed to you. It's still money that's on the books. It becomes a debt back to yourself. So your balance stays at that $60,000, $70,000 and continues to ride the market upward and make more money. Well, I tell you what, the rich know how to make money, boy. Once you learn this, you ain't gonna never look back. Now, that's still not the best part. Here comes the real part. The rich are slick, man. They slick. Here's the real part. When I learned, I said, oh, my Lord. You mean to tell me I can do this right here and do this right here too? Look, let me tell you how the rich roll, how they've been rolling for decades. When you borrow money from yourself, from your private reserve account, the money you borrow is considered a loan to yourself. So you get to set your terms of repaying that loan back to yourself. So you can say to yourself, well, self, I want to charge myself 1.25% interest on the money that I just borrowed from myself. And I want to pay myself back $100 a month, or $150 a month, or $50 a month, or whatever I decide I want to pay myself back at, right? I negotiate that with myself, right? And when I'm paying myself back that money, oh, this is going to get you. I get to collect the interest on the money I'm paying myself back that I borrowed from myself. Look, man, when I found this out, I said, oh my God. So now let me put this in something, let me apply to something that every one of you can relate to. Every one of us have bought cars. Some of us have bought a home, or whatever the case may be. Now, if you're buying a car or home, you're going to the dealership. Mr. Dealer, I want this Mercedes over here. I want this Range Rover over here. I want this Cadillac over here. I want that Jag, right? Mr. Dealer says, okay, well, that Range Rover right there, that Range Rover is going to cost you $50,000. That Cadillac right there going to cost you $45,000. That Jag is about $60,000, $65,000. Now, we can finance that for you with some money down or whatever the case may be. So you give them some money down, you finance the car. Now, your $40,000 Range Rover that you bought, whatever the case may be, when you're paying it back, at $700, $800 a month. Right? That ain't bad, $40,000 car. Right? Right. You're paying back the interest to the finance company. You're going to pay them an extra $10,000. So your $40,000 becomes $50,000 after you paid it back. Right? Right? You don't own it yet. Bank owns it. You miss a payment, you'll see who owns it. All right? Now, you think that's what we do? Think that's what wealthy people do? No, wealthy people don't do that. No. Wealthy people don't do that. We roll a whole different kind of way. We go to our private reserve account. We borrow that $40,000 from ourselves. And our $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, whatever money we got in our private reserve account, the balance stays the same. It don't drop $40,000 before we borrow $40,000 from it. No. It stays the same. It keeps riding up, making more money. Then I get to set my own repayment for a car or the money that I borrowed from myself. So I borrowed that $40,000 from my private reserve bank account myself. I go to the dealership. I said, Mr. Dealer, I want to buy this car. I want to pay cash for it. That's right. There you go. Transfer the money. Bam, it's there. You give me the title. It's paid for. No chance of me losing it. No chance of it getting repossessed. Same thing with my home. I don't go and mortgage a $266,000, $270,000, $280,000, $290,000 home. No. Why would I do that? I got to pay, what's the average rate now? 3.75% is what the going rate is right now. 30 years. If I borrow $280,000, I'm paying back $390,000, almost $400,000. You don't want to do that. That's what y'all do. That's what people do who don't know no better, who don't have the knowledge. But people with a private reserve account, you don't do that. What you do is you borrow that money from yourself, right? You go and pay for that home cash, or pay for that car cash, or you transfer the money over into the realtors or whoever it is you're buying that house from. You get the deed to the home. You get the title to the car. The day you sign that dotted line on purchasing that home, your equity in that home is $290,000 the day you bought it. You got equity in it already. and you get to dictate what you are going to pay yourself back. You get to dictate your own terms, negotiate your own terms. So when you out there paying for a car, $40,000 car, and you paying $600, $700, $800 a month for it, I'm telling myself, well, self, I'm gonna pay myself back for this Range Rover a couple $100 a month. Hey, I think that'll work. A couple $100 a month, I'm gonna pay myself back. I'm gonna charge myself an interest. The average interest now for a car loan is about 8, 9, 10, 12%. I'm gonna charge myself 1.2%. And I'm gonna collect the interest that I'm paying myself back for the money that I borrowed from myself. Same thing with my home. I'm collecting the interest on the home that I borrowed $290,000 from myself, right? I'm paying my own interest back to myself, and I negotiated my own repayment to pay my home back to myself. I'm not going to charge myself $1,800 a month like my neighbors who got the same, price house or less house or more house. They're paying $1,800 a month, $2,000 a month, $1,400, whatever they're paying. I tell myself, well, self, I want to pay myself back $600 a month, or $700 a month. That's how we roll with a private reserve account. You get to tell yourself what you want to pay yourself back. And I get to collect the interest on that money I'm paying back to myself. So by the time I finish paying for my home or my car, the money that I made in interest offsets the money that I paid for the car or the home. So my car that I paid $40,000 for is not really $40,000. It's $19,000. The home that I borrowed $290,000 for is not $290,000. When I'm finished paying for it, it's only about $180,000. That's how the rich roll, y'all. That's how wealthy people roll. That's what they've been doing for decades and decades and decades. It took me about 50 years to find it. Well, actually, it took me about 40 years to find this out. But when I found it out, well, I'm in there like Flint. Because I found that out. I'm like, man, I'm getting in that. I'm getting part of that. I'm getting some of that. And that's how I went from homeless to self-made millionaire. Now, the question is, why haven't you known about this? Why is everybody not been doing this? That answer is because they didn't want you to do this. They didn't want you to know about this. They purposely kept this from you. And even if you did find out about it, they built in certain safeguards to keep you from being able to do it. Because if you say to yourself, well, I'm going to rush down to my bank and ask them, ask them about a private reserve account. Here's the conversation you're going to have. Because when you go to your bank or Chase Manhattan or JP Morgan Chase or Morgan Stanley or Bank of America or Wells Fargo, hey, I want to open up a private reserve account. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, those premium accounts are reserved for our premium customers and our premium, account holders. In order to be a premium account holder, you have to have a minimum of $100,000 in our institution. And you have to have a regular deposit of at least $20,000 per quarter. And the minimum amount to open up a private reserve account, which is for our premier clientele, is $50,000. Okay? That's the conversation you're gonna have. They just politely told you, you ain't welcome here. That's how they have kept us away from this type of knowledge. And if we gain that type of knowledge, they kept us away from that type of stuff. They put it out of our reach. Now, you're probably saying, well, Cal, why the hell you tell me about this if I can't do it? I ain't got no $50,000. I don't have $100,000 to put in somebody's bank. I'm not making $250,000. Why would you open my mind up this stuff just to let the air out of me like that? Aha! Because here comes MWR Financial. Now you're probably saying to yourself, who the hell is MWR Financial? MWR Financial. Remember I told you about that gentleman Brian Bean, who I started following on YouTube. I started following his YouTube channel, Brian N. Bean, B-E-E-N-E. Look him up. Brian, B-R-I-A-N, N, Bean. Brian, middle initial N, last name Bean, B-E-E-N-E. Start following him, okay? Mr. Bean was telling me about all these different things. And now Mr. Bean has to put this whole thing together for MWR Financial. He is their national guy who trains everybody who is in MWR Financial, which I joined MWR Financial myself. Now I am a wealth management strategist with MWR Financial because I opted for their business opportunity. Okay? And why did I do it? Because I know their strategies work, because they work for me. That's why. I know they work. You know, I don't have to guess about it. I don't have to tell you about something I think I know or something I read about. I'm telling you about from what I know. Y'all know me. If you don't know me, go and Google me. Diaries of a Homeless Entrepreneur. From homeless to self-made millionaire. Calvin Butler. You know, Financial Freedom by Design. It's all over Google, all over Bing, all over YouTube, all over YouTube. You know, you can YouTube me, Bing me, or Google me. Right? So Mr. Bean, in following him, and now he is, you know, over the whole training platform for MWR Financial. What MWR Financial does, they make it so that everybody, the average person, can start where you're at. You don't need $50,000 to open up a private reserve account. You don't need to deposit $100,000 in somebody's bank account. You don't need to be making $250,000. You just need to start where you are at. Right where you're at. If you're at $250 that you can deposit, then start with $250. If you're at $100, start with $100. If you're at $1,000, start with $1,000. If you can do $1,000 a month, do $1,000 a month. You can do $100 a month, do $100 a month. But I promise you, whatever you do, it's going to be a lot better than where you're putting your money at now. If I were you, I would be looking at my 401k and saying, I need to transfer all the money from my 401k over into a private reserve bank account with MWR Financial. Because if some of you are like my wife is with her 401k, you know, got almost a couple $100,000 for that thing right now. You transfer all that over, that's going to make you a millionaire real quick with that private reserve bank account. Real quick. You know, you talking about a millionaire date? Try getting your millionaire date that's only 3-4 years away from now. I'm not talking about a technical millionaire like I am right now. I'm a millionaire by technicality. But I got my millionaire date to where that's the date that I can actually stroke $1 million for and not miss it. Okay? Now, being a millionaire by technicality means that if I sell everything I got, I can come up with about $2-3 million. My interest in properties, my interest in some development projects that's going on in Texas and Mexico, beachfront property, some beach property down there that I've got a stake in, you know, my home, my cars, my wife has a home that's paid for, all that stuff. If we sell everything, we can probably come up with about $2 or $3 million. So that means we're millionaires by technicality. But we now have our true millionaire date, the date that we can stroke a check for $1 million and not miss it. They're also going to give you your debt-free date. That's the date that you don't owe nobody nothing. One of our members who just started about a couple of weeks ago got his millionaire date and his debt-free date. His debt-free date is December 2022. That's next year, y'all. He'll be debt free. He won't owe nobody nothing. The young man is like 31, 32 years old. His millionaire date was, I think, February of 2038, like 16, 17 years from now. But because he's pumping money into his private reserve account every week, because he's a truck driver, right? He's pumping his money into his private reserve account every week. His millionaire date just got cut down to shortened by 8 years. And it's going to get shorter and shorter and shorter because he's putting money in every week or every month into his private reserve account. See, if you put money into your bank account, it ain't doing what it will be doing with that private reserve account. That private reserve account is making gains like crazy. Your bank account is doing this right here. It's moving like that. It ain't moving. That private reserve account is moving all the time. That's the difference in it. Now, MWR Financial, here's what it does for you. For less than a cup of coffee per day. A cup of coffee runs you about what, $3? $2.99, $2.90 for a cup of coffee, whatever it is. Starbucks, wherever you get the cup of coffee from. For $79.97 per month, you can hire your own team of financial experts, just like the wealthy and the rich do. And the great part about it is you ain't got to do nothing but send them the stuff and they do the work for you. The first thing that they're going to do, they're going to have you to send them, right, your paycheck stub. You're going to send them your paycheck stub. And you're going to send them your last 2 years tax returns. And then they are going to go to work for you. They're going to evaluate your deductions that you're taking on your W-4. Then they're going to redo your W-4 for you and send you a copy of it. And you just turn it in to your employer. And the next week, watch your paycheck be more money. Sometimes, depending on your situation, it could be anywhere from $100 more to $500 or $600 more per week. That's that instant pay raise I'm talking about. Y'all see the link down there? Go down there, scroll down, yeah, a little bit further. Yeah, right there where it says take the instant pay raise challenge. Click on that and get your instant pay raise. Okay, see what your instant pay raise would be. See, I'm not just telling you stuff. I'm gonna prove it to you while we're right here doing this. I want everybody looking at this right now to scroll down. Go ahead and scroll on down, right down the side. You know the video. You see a little thing down there, right underneath it. You see some links. Go down the way it says take the instant pay raise challenge. It's free. Take the challenge and see how much money you get back in your check every week or every month. Every month, every week. Okay? That's money you didn't know you had. Okay, we're gonna show you how to get money back that you didn't know you had. That's on us. All right? Second thing they're gonna do, when you do that and they raise your money, right? They're gonna have you, and you can do all this at the same time, really. They're gonna have you to send them your 3 credit bureaus, your Equifax, your TransUnion, and your TRW. Okay? You're gonna send that to them, and then they're gonna go to work on raising your credit scores, baby. They're gonna go take off some of that, all that stuff that ain't supposed to be there, all that stuff that's there in error. You know, you had a repossession, more than 7 years ago. It's supposed to come off, but it's been hanging around. You're gonna get rid of it. You got any judgments that's more than 7 years old, 5 years old. Guess what? They're coming off, baby. They're gone, baby, out of here. They start doing that stuff and they start showing you how to rectify the stuff that you had on your credit that was wrong. Now, nobody can remove stuff that you actually owe somebody. So if you're trying to weasel out of paying somebody what you actually owe them, no, that ain't gonna happen. Okay, if you really owe somebody, right, if you really owe somebody and it's legitimate, nobody can take that off. So don't think because you just bought a car, say, well, shoot, I had my car repossessed yesterday or last week. Maybe they can get that taken off. No, they can't do that. After 7 years, it's supposed to drop off. If it don't drop off, a lot of people is still on your credit. Now, if you got stuff on there for medical expenses and medical bills and stuff like that, you can get that taken off. They can get that done for you, baby. Okay? So their goal is to raise your credit scores by 100 to 250 points. Now, what would that do for you? Okay? That's going to help you to do what? Refinance your home, get a lower rate, pay less money for it, just put more money back in your pocket. It's going to lower your interest rate on your car insurance, just putting more money back in your pocket. Lower your interest rate on your homeowner's insurance, all that stuff, put money back in your pocket. God forbid if you're a truck driver. Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. We've been averaging showing truck drivers, $3,000, $4,000 back every month. Extra money, more money, more money, more money, more money in their paychecks. Think about that. Then what they're going to do is called Wealth Max. They're going to have you to schedule a consultation with your wealth management strategic specialist. Okay, your strategist. Your wealth management strategist is going to go over it with you, all of your expenses, what you have that's going out, everything you have that's coming in, both you and your wife. Oh, and by the way, that $79 a month covers both you and your wife. it's for both of y'all. It covers both of y'all, so both of y'all can do this. You and your wife covers both of you. All right. Now, so your wealth max strategist is going to go over all your expenses, all your income, and all your outgoing. If you got 401ks, they're going to ask you to kind of research that, see how much money you got in your 401k. See how much money you got tied up in Robinhood or Acorns or some type of investment account. See how much money you got in properties, and they're going to evaluate your entire financial situation. Then they're going to help you to open up that private reserve bank account through MWR Financial. And with the money that they saved you that you didn't know you had, that extra $200 a week, $300 a week, $400, $500, $600 a week, extra $700 a month, $1,000 a month, $2,000, $3,000, and $4,000 a month that you didn't know nothing about. You wasn't using it before because you was giving it all to Uncle Sam, right? You didn't care. You was giving it all to Uncle Sam. Now they're gonna show you how to get that back in your check every week and every month. Now with that money, they're gonna show you if you take that money and you put it into your private reserve account every month or every week, or whatever the case may be, they're going to show you how they can give you your millionaire date. that date, you can stroke that check for $1 million and not miss it. Think about that. And before I leave with you now, they also have something called land banking. I'm not even going to get into that because I done gave y'all too much information as it is. When you get the private reserve account, when you get the MWR, the Financial Edge membership for $79.97 a month, you'll learn about the land banking too. I'm telling you, you want that land banking. Yes, sir. I'm going to give you a little hint to it. Picture your hometown, where you grew up at, where you was raised at, and what it looked back when you was 9, 10 years old, back then when you was growing up, what it looked like. Probably a lot of empty dirt and land everywhere, and now picture it now when you go back and look at it. It's all built up, apartment complexes, and banks, and shopping plazas, and malls, and car dealerships, and medical centers, and there's all types of stuff. Walmart, super Walmarts, drive-in theaters, just all types of stuff out there now, right? Housing complexes, everything. Now imagine back then, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago when you was growing up, imagine you being able to buy that land when it was just dirt. Being able to buy like 50, 60, 100 acres of it when it was dirt and dirt cheap. Would you be a billionaire now if you had 100 acres of that land that was just dirt back then? Would you be a billionaire right now today? I bet a lot of y'all would. That's land banking, baby. That's land banking. They're going to show you how to purchase land in the path of growth at 20 to 40% under market value. And you just sit on it and wait for that area to grow. And then when people need that property to do whatever they need to do, you can pretty much tell them, say, hey, you want this right here. This is going to cost you about $200,000 an acre. It's going to cost you $100,000 an acre. These 50 acres right here going to cost you $22 million if you want it. That's land banking. Think about that for a minute. This is how wealthy people roll. This is how they continue to get wealthier and wealthier and wealthier and wealthier. We don't worry about COVID-19 and shutdowns and all that stuff because y'all know we're heading for another shutdown, right? I hope y'all know that. Okay, because Trump about to be out, Biden about to be in. He's only I think he's 15 electoral votes away. Trump is like 60-something electoral votes away. I don't think he's going to be able to close that gap before Biden hit that 270, baby. And Biden's already told you what? We're going to have another shutdown. We got to get control of this virus. Okay, which he ain't wrong. Okay? I mean, you got to do what you got to do, right? But look, I ain't worried about it. I'm not worried about it. I'm staying behind home, at my house, still making my money. My private reserve bank account still making money. I ain't worried about none of that. You know, I even had COVID-19. Had it. I didn't go to no hospital. Stayed my behind right here. I told my wife, if I'm gonna die in this nice critter home that we bought. If I'm gonna go, this is where I'm gonna go at. All right. Don't send me to no hospital. Yeah, I had it bad. I was choking and coughing and couldn't breathe and headaches and diarrhea and backaches and couldn't hardly move and everything. I thought I was dying, man. I really did. I'm not gonna lie to you. I dealt with it for 8 weeks. 8 weeks. And even after I got rid of it, I'm still having back pain because of the lasting effects. But guess what? I'm working on losing this right here. No. I got this because I'm living on that private reserve bank account. Living on that type of stuff. That's how I got this. All right. But I'm getting to lose it now because I need to lose it. Because I want to live to be 100. Okay. At the same time, I want to leave my family close to $100 million. Yeah, that's possible. That's possible when you're on this type of wealth path, when you're on this type of wealth plan, you can do that. You can really, really see yourself leaving your family, $2, $3, $4, $5, $6 million, $10 million, $20 million, $30 million, depending on your situation. You can do that. You can't do it with your bank account. No, you can't do it with that. You can't do it with your savings account. No, you can't. No, sirree. You can't do it with that. That dog ain't gonna hunt. But you can do it with a private reserve bank account. You can do it with, with your own team of financial experts. Do y'all think wealthy people are smart? Do you think wealthy people are smart enough to know how to do all this stuff? No, most wealthy people are dumb as a rock. Come on, just look at the current situation. Some wealthy people right now that make billions only pay $750,000 in taxes, but in actuality, they dumb as a rock. But they got experts that they pay to do that stuff for them. Now you can do the same thing. Now you can afford the same thing. You can get your own team of experts that you only pay $79.97 a month for. And they can put you on the path to getting your millionaire date and your debt-free date. Okay. Now I'm gonna leave this one thing with you. Retirement. I'm gonna show you how this right here stacks up to the 401k. 401k can't hold a candle to what this is, to a private reserve bank account. 401ks cannot hold a candle to it, okay? Because with your 401k, you work 20, 30 years, right? You pumping money into it. Your money is tied to the stock market. It's going up, it's going down. Going up, it's going down. One year, you look at your 401k, man, I got $400,000. Next year, you look at it, I got $200,000. What the hell happened? Well, the market crashed. Market went down, so your money went down, right? But on the other hand, and when you do decide to retire and you draw your money out of the 401k, Uncle Sam coming to, hey, with my 30%. You can't just draw this money out without paying me my 30%. I want my 30%, right? That's what happened. You gotta pay that rich uncle. When you draw that money out of that 401k, or when you draw it out of that annuity, or whatever you're drawing it out of, you gotta pay that rich uncle. Not with a private reserve account. Because again, we don't roll like that. All right? In that private reserve account, if you're doing the same thing you did with your 401k, or if you take your 401k, whatever it is right now, and you roll it over into your private reserve account, within about 10, 20 years, let's say you got a couple $1 million, not a couple $100,000. Why? Because your money did not drop with the market like your 401k did. Your money just kept going up with the market when the market goes up. So it stands to reason you're going to have a lot more money in your private reserve account than you had in your 401k by the time you retire. And you can probably retire a lot earlier than you had planned on with a private reserve account. Now, let's say you reach that point and you want to retire. You say, I don't want to work no more. I'm 30 right now. I want to quit working when I'm 45 or I'm 50. I don't want to work no more. Okay? But I got to have money to live on if I don't want to work no more. Well, my private reserve account got $1.2 million in it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to borrow $100,000 a year from my private reserve account. That's what I'm going to live on. I'm gonna live on $100,000 a year. Borrow that money from my private reserve account. That's about $9,000 a month. Okay, roughly $10,000 a month. That's what I'm gonna get. I'm gonna borrow that money from my private reserve account. Now, because it's a private reserve account, your balance does not go down when you borrow your own money, because you still owe it back to yourself, right? You're borrowing $8,500, $9,000 a month, and you get to set your own terms of repayment, baby. You say, well, I'm gonna pay myself back $500 a month, but I'm living on $9,000 a month, but I'm only paying back $500 a month, because it's your money, it's your account, it's your bank. You're paying yourself back, and on the $500 a month you're paying yourself back. Guess what? Yeah, you're collecting the interest on that too. So you are living well, not worried about a thing, no stress, no bother, no fuss. You're living out your retirement, $100,000 a year. You live to be 90, 95, 100 years old, and then what happens? What do you leave to your family? Now, if you was doing a 401k, you done spent that money, you ain't got nothing left to leave to your family. Ain't no generational wealth with no 401k, because when you retire, Uncle Sam gonna take 30% of it the day you draw it out off the top. But because you're in a private reserve account and it's money you borrowed from yourself, right? It's money you still owe back. That's non-taxable, baby. Uncle Sam can't touch that. What how many you say? Can't touch this. Nope. Can't touch that. That's all yours. Can't touch it. And as you pay yourself back, you get to collect the interest on it. So that means when you do pass on, you still got $1.2, $1.5, $2 million that you're passing on to what? Your family, your children, the next generation. There's that generational wealth that we're talking about. There it is, right there on the head. Now I told y'all, I warned y'all. Now I warned y'all that this was gonna change your life. I warned y'all that this is gonna disrupt your entire way of thinking about money, about finance, about savings, about retirement. I warned you now. Didn't I warn you? Don't say I didn't warn you, because I warned you. I warned you that this right here, this information right here that I was about to give to you all was going to cause you to have some sleepless nights. You're going to stay up at night thinking about that private reserve account. Now, the only way to stop thinking about that is to take action, because now you have the knowledge. Because remember I said that the only difference between the wealthy and you is knowledge. Well, I just gave you the knowledge. You can't use that excuse no more. I just gave you the knowledge. Now you have the power to act on it. Scroll down, over to the side, see where it says, get your team of financial experts today for less than a cup of coffee per day. $79.97 per month. Click that link that's right underneath it and go ahead and get started, man. Because I promise you, whatever you spend your money on right now, it ain't going to do for you like this will do for you. Okay? It ain't. It's just not. Okay? I'm not just blowing smoke. Hey, look. Y'all saw where I was 10 years ago. You can look at my YouTube channel, Diaries of a Home Entrepreneur. Saw me, walking around, snag a tooth. I ain't have my dentures in. Now I still don't wear my bottom dentures now because they're a little too tight. I got to go get them refitted. But I ain't have no dentures. I was all snag a tooth. I was about 190 pounds. I ain't had no wealth weight on me, none of that. Y'all saw me. Y'all know how I was living back then. Struggling. Real struggling. I ain't talking about some of the struggling y'all think y'all struggling. Nah, you ain't struggling. You ain't struggling. Okay? But you got to go to the homeless shelter every night. You got to depend on people to feed you, from the gratitude. You got to go on Saturday morning. You got to walk down to the church and sit in on a 6:30, church service for an hour and a half just to get breakfast. When you're in that situation, that's them hard times. That's struggling. Now, I don't know nothing about that now, but I remember it. I'm not going back to it because I got the knowledge and I took action. Now you have the knowledge. What are you going to do? All right. Look, go and join our Facebook group, MWR Financial Assurance Team Assurance USA. MWR Financial Team Assurance USA. Now, there's a lot of MWR I'm Financial Wealth Management Specialist on Facebook. Why do you want to join Team Assurance USA? Because if you join Team Assurance USA, you also get to join the 100 Strong. And what is the 100 Strong? It is our strategic plan to make every member of the 100 Strong, which is going to be 1,000 members, we're going to make every member a multi-millionaire to the tune of $10 million with a separate private reserve account outside of their own private reserve account. Because our group private reserve account, we have a strategic plan to pump in $1 million into that every year, which is going to create for us within 5 to 10 years, 10 to $100 billion. Yeah, you heard me right. 10 billion to $100 billion outside of whatever you're doing with your own private reserve bank account. Because if you're part of our network, when we make that happen, you'll be able to get whatever you need from within the network. Borrow money from our group private reserve account, right? Set your own terms of repayment. Truly live a lifestyle of, just straight wealth. And not ever have to worry about where money's going to come from again. And you get to pass that on to your heirs. Because if you take 1,000 of us and collectively we pump in $1 million each year, that's like $1,000 per year. That's all it is. It's $1,000. 1,000 people, $1,000 a year. That's $1 million. We have our fundraisers twice a year. First fundraiser, we pump $1 million into the private reserve account. The second fundraiser, we pump $1 million into the land banking account. Within 5 years, we're sitting on about 5, 6, 8, $9 billion as a group. In 10 years, we're sitting on $50 to $100 billion as a group. Because that's how that private reserve account roll, baby. And with Team Assurance USA, we're going to supersize it. So look, no more excuses, y'all. No more excuses. You're out there wondering, saying to yourself, oh, I hate paying bills. Oh, I can't never get ahead. The rent's due. This is no more excuses. No more excuses. Because seriously speaking, wealth is by choice, not by privilege. Remember that. And the only difference between you and the wealthy is knowledge. That's it. That's all it is, y'all. Knowledge. This has been Calvin with MWR Financial, Diaries of a Homeless Entrepreneur, and Assurance USA Corporation, and the 100 Strong. Get your financial aids membership. Okay? Y'all have a good day. Bye, everybody.